One of the most iconic and certainly the largest tank of the Second World War, the Tiger II tank or King Tiger, struck fear into the hearts of any Allied soldier. It stood at a huge size and weighed almost 70 tons. The King Tiger's legacy is one that has gone before it, however was it actually very good or not? Or was the tank just a piece of propaganda aimed to strike fear in the enemy? Building upon its predecessor the Tiger I, the King Tiger was much bigger than the previous. Its 88mm cannon could smash through 5 inches of armour at a range of 2 kilometres. With T-34s and Sherman tanks having only 2 inches of frontal armour, the Tiger II must have been greatly feared. The Tiger II saw a number of improvements over the Tiger I. The original Tiger had vertical armour rather than the effective slope armour that was found on the T-34s and later the Panther. The King Tiger had this sloped armour that was 6 inches thick on the front hull. Its turret could traverse a complete 360 degrees in around 19 seconds, rather than 60 seconds it took the Tiger I. One of the biggest problems on the Tiger I was the fact that fast moving tanks could manoeuvre behind it and attack its weaknesses. The Tiger II was more agile than it looked. Weighing as heavy as it did, one could expect it to get bogged down and travel at the speed of a snail. However, it had a road speed of around 25 miles per hour against the roughly 30 mile an hour of the Shermans or the T-34s. The cross-country speed was about 10 miles per hour, which was half the speed of the other tanks. Despite its speed though, it had a good tactical mobility and could travel over bridges. The latter war German tanks had a reputation for being over-engineered and mechanically too sophisticated. The T-34's greatest strength was the fact that it could be manufactured at a huge scale and very quickly. However, this wasn't the case for the Tiger family. The King Tiger suffered from reliability issues, especially at the hands of the inexperienced and poorly trained tank crews of the desperate and late German army. By the time it made its debut on the battlefield in Normandy in July 1944, the Germans were on the defensive in the retreat, causing issues if it broke down, which it mostly did. However, it would cause havoc on formations of Sherman tanks due to its firepower and protection. It could be overcome by attacks in sheer numbers, but as said, most of the losses of the King Tiger came due to mechanical breakdowns or being abandoned by their crew. How good was the King Tiger though? Well, this depends. In terms of firepower, mobility and armour, it was very good, and probably better than its heavy tank American rival, the M26 Pershing. However, was it as good as the IS-2 Stalin tank? The Konigstiger had one up on the IS-2 though, as even though the incredibly powerful IS-2 had an 122mm gun which could penetrate the King Tiger's armoured turret, it had a very low rate of fire and limited ammunition on board. If the war would have continued on, however, the King Tiger would have met its match in the form of the British Centurion, one of the most successful tanks in history. With regards to the production numbers, the Soviet Union produced nearly 4,000 IS-2s, but the Germans built less than 500 Tiger IIs. The sheer amount of King Tigers would have had very little on the outcome of the war. Throughout the time of production too, the German armaments industry was suffering greatly, and tanks were even being sent to the front line unpainted. Although being able to outgun all tanks, the King Tiger's biggest killer was in fact the Lancaster bomber of the Royal Air Force. The Germans ordered 1,500 Tiger IIs, but RAF raids on Henschel's factories reduced production. The Tiger II also cost a huge amount of money to produce, around 800,000 Reichsmarks, and at this stage in the war, Germany could simply not afford this. So although the King Tiger was innovative in terms of armour protection and firepower, it suffered huge issues mechanically, and it also suffered from being born during the late part of the war. The King Tiger, much like many of Hitler's other big plans, was a desperate roll of the dice to try and turn the tide of the war. Overall, was the King Tiger a good tank though? Well, not really. It signalled the end of an era, the end of the heavy tank, and led to the start of a new one, the era of the main battle tank. The best tank is the one that suits your army's needs and enhances the chances of winning. The King Tiger simply didn't do this and played a limited role in preventing the downfall of the Third Reich. Once again, thank you for watching. To support the channel, please make sure to subscribe. Once again, thanks for watching.